Good blimey. Nerd alert!
Hi there, and Happy New Year from Baseball by Design. I am SportsLogos.net minor league baseball correspondent Paul Caputo, broadcasting, as sometimes I have before, from my parents' guest bedroom in Wayne, Pennsylvania.
And though I grew up in Wayne, New Jersey, I'm not there now. I am Dan Simon, broadcasting from the Studio Simon Stumper headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky.
Dan, Happy New Year. How are you?
Happy New Year to you. I am fantastic. Can you believe it's 2026 already?
I can't. Well, we're 2 days from 2026. Probably by the time people are listening to this, it's 2026. Unless you're, one of those magical people out there who listen like day of. Every once in a while, Dan, I'll get like a text or a message from someone literally hours after the episode has dropped, and they have some comment or observation or personal anecdote related to the episode. And it always makes me so happy that some people are listening as soon as it drops. So, Dan, every year around the holidays, we do something special on the podcast. A few years ago, before I think you were even doing Studio Simon Stumpers, early on in the podcast, we had the Dan Simon takeover. You were the captain now, and you asked me questions. You interviewed me for a double holiday episode. Last year, we had the Studio Simon Stumper Extravaganza, where you just brought like a whole, what would we call it? Stumper Fest? Stumperpalooza? Stumperpalooza is what we called it.
I think it was Stumperpalooza.
Yeah, where we just...
Could have also been the Stumpaganza.
I think it was Stumperpalooza. And then this year, I have asked you put together purely as an information item for yourself, but I find this document absolutely fascinating. I have been calling it the Spreadsheet. We have referenced it a number of times during conversations. This is a list that you put together in Illustrator, of all places. This is not like this is not a list on an actual spreadsheet. This is not Excel or Google Sheets or anything. But it is a series of columns, some elegant information design, by the way, and we're going to get into some of your formatting choices here. But elegant information design that breaks down. We decided there are 120. Well, we didn't decide this. There are 120 affiliated teams, and then we came up with, or you came up with, 82, I believe, independent professional teams.
And by the way, that total of 202 is not necessarily correct. I think it's correct, but I could have miscounted. I could have left something out. I hope I didn't, but as they say, don't quote me on that.
Well, Dan, with your permission, I would love to publish this document on social media so that folks can actually look for themselves and pore over it and offer suggestions and categories and just see the amazing work that you've done. Would you be okay with that?
Sure. Go right ahead. Because one of the things about these lists are my uncertainty of what category to put certain teams in. For instance, here's a very good one. Now, by the way, I should also point out that there are teams that are in multiple categories, such as there's a category called colors. And I'm just looking, you've got the Jersey Shore Blue Claws in the colors category, but you will also find them in one of the animal categories, specifically the crustaceans category. So now, by the way, you will then also find them in the 2 words, 2 caps category.
Camel case.
Right, which is from
just last week.
One episode ago?
Yeah, just last week, the Victoria Harbor Cats.
Right. So you will find them so that's the 3rd category they're in. And for all I know, they might be in some other category. But then I have a category, both pages have a category that I just call miscellaneous, because I don't really know how to categorize teams like the Worcester Red Sox. Now, the Worcester Red Sox, by the way, they are in also the category. There's a category for parent clubs, which you will only find on the affiliated page
Right.
because there are no major league parent clubs in independent baseball. So you will find the Worcester Red Sox in that category, of course, but their identity is based on the smiley face.
Yeah.
And I don't, what is that? Is that a cartoon category? Is that a,
It's a marketing character created by Harvey Ball, Worcester-based commercial artist, back in like the 60s. So yeah, it tells a story about Worcester, but they're named for their parent club. And then not only are they named for their parent club, but then it gets a little even fuzzier because then they just have that, everyone knows them as the Woo Sox. Nobody calls them the Worcester Red Sox. So that, that one, that is a hard to categorize team.
here's another one that's in the miscellaneous category. And this is kind of one that's literally close, well, close to your former home where you are in today,
Yeah,
but also your favorite team, the Phillies. You've got the Reading Fightin' Phils.
yeah, right.
So they're in the miscellaneous category for two reasons. One is what really is what a Philly is you tell me, is it somebody from Philadelphia? Is that literally what a Philly is?
I think that's all it is. I think the fact that there is a homonym for it that is a reference to horses. There's also a brand of cigars that's called Phillies. I think those are incidental. I think it's just meant to be someone from Philadelphia.
Okay, so that would put them in the people category, which currently stands at 29.
Right, which is higher than I thought it would be.
Right. But also, as with the Worcester Red Sox, where we're talking, these are all names, but their names going along with the names are also visual assets,
Yeah,
the visual brand identity. And so the Reading Fightin' Phils, at least their primary logo, features an ostrich, which is based on their vendor, I guess,
the crazy hot dog vendor.
right, who rides an ostrich. So does that then put them, do they then go into the bird category?
Right.
Do they?
I don't.
This is,
Well, that depends on whether you're categorizing by the logo or the name.
I think in some cases I'm doing both.
Okay. This was a serious challenge, Dan. I mean, you had to make a lot of decisions. In some cases, you split teams out into multiple categories. The larger question here is, because I don't think you did this for professional purposes. I don't think you did this to advance your career as a logo designer. I think you did this A, because you thought it was fun, and B, you thought it was useful for the podcast because I know that it has come up on several of the Studio Simon Stumpers. What inspired you to put this list together?
Uh, by the way, you said it's been mentioned on several of the podcasts. It's been oft mentioned.
It has been oft mentioned. Yeah.
You bring
Yeah.
it up quite a lot. So
If you know if you listen to this podcast regularly, you have heard me reference Dan's spreadsheet. And then I don't know, about like one out of every 5 times I do that, you mentioned that it's not technically a spreadsheet. So, but the
Yeah,
title of this episode, Dan, is Dan's spreadsheet. So I hope people get used to me calling it a spreadsheet.
you can use that term. I guess, do you have to use spreadsheet software for something to technically be a spreadsheet, or is this a spreadsheet because it's
Like champagne.
information?
If it's not made in the spreadsheet region of France, it's just a list.
Okay, so you have made your decree there. Okay, so back to your question. Why? Why would anybody do this? It all started from me wondering how many dog and cat names there were in professional baseball because I thought there would be a lot, and it turns out there are surprisingly few.
Yeah.
Now we lost the Batavia Muck Dogs
Yeah.
due to contraction.
Yeah.
And with that contraction, we might have lost another dog or cat or two. But according to my count, in affiliated minor league baseball, though there are 5 canine teams, which include the El Paso Chihuahuas, the Erie Sea Wolves. A wolf is a canid.
Yeah.
The Midland Rockhounds, and the Peoria Chiefs. Now, by the way,
And the
this goes
Charleston River Dogs.
right. Well, I was going to
Oh,
bring
you were going to
up
get to them. I
them
jumped the gun. Sorry.
last. That's okay. The Peoria Chiefs. This goes to your prior point.
Right.
Their name suggests, well, it used to suggest something Native American based, but it then went to Fire Chiefs and currently is Fire Chiefs. So that would put them in the people category, but
Yeah.
actually, and I do have them in the people category, but also their logo features a Dalmatian wearing a fireman's helmet.
Yeah.
So I put that in the canine category, even though, so that's name and visual identity. So yes, I used both of those. But back to the Charleston River Dogs, that's the only affiliated minor league team with the word dog in their name. Now let's go over to the independent. You have now there are 2, 4, 6 canines in independent ball. And the only one, there are 2 with dogs. You've got the Down East Bird Dogs of the Frontier League and the Lincoln Salt Dogs of the American Association. In addition to those, the Lake Country Dockhounds, the Los Angeles Bullies. By the way, the Dockhounds are also with the American Association. The Los Angeles Bullies, which features a bulldog, in the Empire League. The Mahoning Valley Scrappers in the Draft League, and the New Jersey Jackals of the Frontier League. Yeah. So that's total of 3 dog names.
Yeah.
The other thing, as I mentioned, were cat names. So let's go to the feline category.
Before we move on from that, Dan, I just want to comment on how notable it is, and I think appropriate. I don't think you've miscategorized it here, but not included in the independent professional canine teams are the Chicago Dogs, who are named after a food item.
Right. So they're the one team in the food/drink category on the independent page.
Yeah.
And then the food drink category on the affiliated page has 2, the Hub City Spartan Burgers and the Montgomery Biscuits. So, okay. So by the way, I said this all started from how many dog and cat names there were, and surprisingly few. So we've established that there's a total of 4 dog names, no cat names. In affiliated ball, you've got the Lynchburg Hill Cats, the Sacramento River Cats, and the Lakeland Flying Tigers. So there's 2 cats there. Let's go over to
that was 3 cats, right? Hill Cats, Flying Tigers, and River Cats.
Yeah, but only 2 cats.
Oh, 2 cats.
There's 3 felines, only 2 cats.
I see.
Even though a tiger is a type of cat, but I'm talking about the name itself in this case.
Right.
Okay. And also, please note that a New Hampshire Fisher cat is not a cat.
Not a cat.
It's in the Martin. Do you know the Ranger Amy can help us with this? The Martin category, or kind of the weasel category.
Right.
That's a type of mammal that is. In independent ball with the felines, you've got the Gary South Shore Rail Cats and the Tri-City Valley Cats, former affiliated team, and then also the Kane County Cougars. So 4 dog names, 4 cat names. That's it. Out of 202 teams, you've got 8 dogs and cats.
It's startling. Because that's come up in a couple of stumpers, and I thought, there's gonna be a ton of these, and I'm just not thinking of them. There just weren't that many. One of the ones that I was a little bit charmed by here, Dan, was under cryptids and mythological on the affiliated page. You have the Dayton Dragons, the Eugene Emeralds, because they have Sasquatch, Bigfoot, as their logo, and then the San Jose Giants. And it never would have occurred to me to think of giants as cryptid or as mythological. But yeah, we're talking about, Jack and the Beanstalk here. It's that kind of giant. I've never thought of the Giants that way. Just thought of it as a word for a team. So they're one that are in a couple of categories. They're under their parent club, and then they're under mythological. I think the San Jose Giants are a team that are never. I keep advocating for teams to go away from their parent club names. I think the San Jose Giants are just not a team that we're going to see that with. I think that they're forever they're forever named for their parent club. One of the questions I had for you though was, do you note these as you like internally? You know, obviously you can't reveal any inside industry secrets here, but do you note these as you know they're going to change? You know, it's public information right now that the Syracuse Mets have one last season as the Mets, and then they're going to change. But surely there are others on this list that you have marked for demolition internally in your head without making that information public. Do you find yourself thinking about the list when you see that teams are going to go away? If the Albuquerque Isotopes were ever to change, God forbid, the whole entire science category would go away. This is another thing I want to ask, because the one team categories that we have in some of these pages. But anyway, my original question: do you have some of these marked for demolition in your head?
Yes, I can
Yeah.
tell you that there are a certain number of teams on this list that will not be going by their, it's a certain number, and so it could be one, it could be two, it could be three, it could be 10. I will not say what that number is. So there is a team, or there are teams that will not be going by these names in 2027.
Okay.
Okay,
Uh,
that's how far in advance we have to work on these things.
yeah. Yeah.
And I believe those teams that will have new names in 2026 have all unveiled already. I believe. I'm not certain of that, because I can tell you some of the teams, well, for instance, like the Salem Ridge Yaks, I did not do that brand identity. So there are other brand identities that are out there that weren't mine, and I'm sure that will be the case with 2027 as well.
For instance, I'm looking here on this fully updated list, and under insects, we have the Ontario Tower Buzzers, who were a new Dodgers affiliate just unveiled. One of your brands features a bee and essentially an airport tower. So that is under the insect category.
It's also in the transportation category, subcategory airplanes or aircraft. Even though the identity does not feature an airplane, you've got the bee buzzing an air traffic control tower.
Yeah.
I felt that that had to be in the transportation category, as well as the two separate words category. So
I don't know if there's a name for that, the way there was for camel case. There are some categories, especially on there's one category that only has one team in the affiliated list and does not appear on the other list, which is punctuation. And then another one, which is science. The punctuation category is the Winston-Salem Dash, who are, of course, incorrectly named for the piece of punctuation between Winston and Salem. They should be the hyphens. And then science, of course, you've got the Albuquerque Isotopes. Under music, there is the Nashville Sounds. Forces of nature. Now, here, this is interesting, because you have a nature category and you have a forces of nature category. Nature, Eugene Emeralds, Northwest Arkansas Naturals. Forces of nature, Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. So that could have been maybe like a subcategory. My question for you, Dan, is what did a team have to do to get tossed into miscellaneous rather than getting its own one team category?
because I didn't know how to
Oh,
categorize them, and we can come up with categories right now for them. Let's do that. So we already talked about the Redding, Fight, and Phils. Now they can go into the people category, because we've established that a Philly is somebody from Philadelphia, and Phils
yeah.
is short for Phillies. But we also discussed this. Does it also go? I think it also needs to go into the bird category, because it
'Cause it's an
features an
ostrich.
ostrich, in the same way that the Peoria Chiefs are in the canine category, because it features a Dalmatian. So that's going to get moved out of miscellaneous into three categories, because it will also be in the
Okay.
two separate words
Yeah,
category.
it's in the two separate words. I think it can be people. I think it can be birds if we're going by logos. And again, Dan, we're not trying to create projects for you here, but could be even that there are, there's color coding or something that happens when you're talking about just the logo versus the team name.
Okay, well, back to these miscellaneous ones.
Yeah.
Next on the list and they're all alphabetized, so that's how it's not
Yes.
first on the list, are the Reno Aces.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're from Reno, Nevada, which
Yeah.
is known for its casinos.
Yeah.
And the what is it called? The smallest
The
big
biggest little
city.
city in the world.
Yeah, there you go. Now, so that's about gambling. So
Yeah.
does that just go in the gambling category? Do we make a gambling category?
I would have very quickly made a gambling category out of that, and then I would have sat there and thought about there is a double entendre there, right? Like the aces, the word aces could also refer to a very talented pitcher. But I think that because the visual identity is so clearly tied to playing cards, I think that just gambling is the category, unless you wanted to create like a recreation category and gambling is a subset. Because
Recreation.
then the Ridgeyacks go under the recreation category, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That brings up something else. The
Okay.
Ridge Yaks need to go in. Under transportation, I have a category boats. I
Yeah.
think maybe we need to change that to watercraft
Mm.
because then we'd have boats and we've got you've got a kayak. So
Yeah.
actually, I need to do that right now so I don't
All right.
forget.
I'm going to propose another change, Dan, and I know that we're going to have listeners, poring over this list and proposing changes themselves here. You have broken out forces of nature and weather into two different categories. And I
Well,
don't, oh, sorry, go ahead.
well, because
Okay.
an earthquake is not weather.
Hmm.
Is weather.
I think weather is a force of nature.
So you've got Brooklyn cyclones like Elsinore storm, Tri-City dust devils, and Wichita wind surge.
Yeah.
So you feel that the weather goes into forces of nature?
I think that would be my opinion on that. And then like quakes would be under a subcategory of like natural disasters or something like that, right? Like
Well,
if there were an avalanche, they would be under there with the quakes.
I would like to I would like listeners to weigh in on this
Okay.
because I'm not disagreeing with that. It's just I just don't know.
Maybe I'll put a poll up on New Year's Eve day.
Okay.
Or
This is like, is a hot dog a sandwich or is obviously Die Hard is
Yep.
that a Christmas movie? But there was something else. Oh, they showed the first Rambo movie, First Blood.
uh-huh.
They showed Sylvester Stallone, I believe it was in the police station. And in the background, there was a Christmas tree in the police station with Christmas lights on it. And so that is in the category of is that a Christmas movie? But anyway,
Before you move on from that, Dan, my main question about Die Hard is not is it a Christmas movie, but why are they having an office party on Christmas Eve at night?
wow, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry.
See, okay. Well, anyway, let's go back to the miscellaneous category. The last affiliated team
Oh, yeah.
in there, and let's not leave out independent baseball. Let's
No,
go to
no,
their
no, no.
miscellaneous category as
Yeah.
well. So the Worcester Red Sox. What category is that?
I think it's just Parent Club and Parent Club alone because, like, what if the Worcester Red Sox had, like, the Red Sox, the actual clothing item socks as their logo instead of Smiley Ball? Would they have to go into, like, the textile industry category because they had socks as a logo?
I would put that like apparel
Oh, you would?
for any Sox team that leans into the sock part of it. And by the way, the smiley face character in the Worcester Red Sox visual brand identity is wearing red socks. But
Okay.
I don't know that makes I wouldn't the name is an apparel category. It
Yeah.
is socks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe I don't
It-
currently have an apparel
Yeah.
category, but I think I need to have one. But then also, I in the same way that the Peoria Chiefs are both need to be, well, they are in the people category. They're also in the dog category
Yeah.
because the visual brand there's the name, and there's a visual brand identity.
Yeah.
So we can't. What is it called? Poo poo. I said poo poo. The visual brand identity
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the Worcester Red Sox, it features the smiley face category. What is that? Like
Yeah.
what would a category be that a smiley face character falls into? You
I
mentioned it was a marketing thing, but
It's
it's not a.
marketing. Yeah, it's an icon, but it's a great question, Dan. It's
Okay, listeners, please weigh in. We would like some
yeah,
recommendations there.
Woo
And let's
socks.
go over to wow, we've got five in independent ball. Now
Okay.
here's a good one to
Mm,
start with.
yeah.
It's first alphabetically, and it's the Florence Yalls.
Yeah.
Now, as somebody who lives in Kentucky, where people actually refer to people groups of people as y'all,
Yeah.
and Florence is in Kentucky,
Yeah.
very northern Kentucky, might as well be Cincinnati for all intents and purposes. But
Yeah.
what is what category is that? It's an expression.
Right.
Is that the category? I guess yes,
This was
maybe.
this was one of two episodes on the podcast so far where I have had one of my personal heroes on as a guest, Mignon Fogarty, who is the grammar girl. That is her handle on social media, and she has a podcast, and she has had a column, quick and dirty grammar tips from Grammar Girl. She has been on my podcast twice, once for the Winston-Salem Dash and once for the Florence Y'alls. And in both occasions, we were talking about grammar and usage. So to me, y'alls is, it's a grammatical construction of a phrase. And so I would see the y'alls as a sort of grammar and usage. I would, in my mind, they're almost in the same category. They're not punctuation, but
Okay, we'll make a grammar. I'm down with that. We'll make
okay.
a grammar category. Now, by the way, back to something you said. You talked about having you had the opportunity to have one of your heroes on the podcast. When you refer to having heroes on the podcast, present company accepted.
Absolutely, Dan. You know you're a hero. This is yeah, I have described your logo illustration work as wizardry. So everyone knows how lucky I am to have you on the podcast every single week.
Oh,
Um,
go on.
but yeah, she's my sort of grammar hero. John Hodgman is my podcasting hero. You, Dan, you're my design hero. Yeah, it's good to have a lot of heroes out there. They say don't meet your heroes, but I've had pretty good luck with it.
My wife was just listening to her songs on the Spotify playlist she puts together when she's getting ready for work in the morning. And just yesterday was the song I Need a Hero.
Ah,
Do you remember that song? And
absolutely.
I hadn't
It's
heard
about a
that
sandwich.
song. You mentioned in the last episode, you mentioned the subs in at Wawa.
Certainly, I would not have used the word sub, but
Oh, I'm sorry, hero. I should have said heroes.
hoagies,
Uh, oh, is that what they
hoagies.
are
Yeah,
in?
and when you're in Philly, they're hoagies.
Okay.
You go to
So,
Wawa and get a hoagies and some water.
okay, we're digressing again. So, okay, so we've got something for the Florence Yalls. Next on this list is the Joliet Slammers.
Yeah.
Now,
Now,
it's a
oh,
prison themed identity.
yeah,
So,
it's also got a bird in it. It's got J.L. Bird, as you know, since you
oh,
designed it.
that's right.
Yeah,
It's got to go into the bird
you've
category as well.
you've got
Oh, it
birds.
is. I do have it in the bird category.
Okay.
But what is crime? Is that the category?
Well, you have on the affiliated page, you have five teams in the objects slash buildings category. Now, the Slammers are famously named for Joliet Prison, and Joliet Prison features prominently in the logo, as you know, because you designed it. So I would have, if you were going to have an objects slash buildings category and affiliated, I would have
Yes.
put this one under that. So I would go
Okay.
birds and objects slash buildings.
Well, by the way, now that I'm seeing this, I know I put this together, but I put it together a long time, not a long time ago, but months
Yeah.
ago. The Worcester Red Sox is in the objects buildings category. So
Oh,
I was asking, what is a smiley
yeah.
face? I determined it was an object. But interesting, the only building in the objects buildings
Yes.
category are the San Antonio Missions.
I did
Uh,
notice that. Yeah, like hooks, tin caps, lug nuts, San Antonio Missions, and Worcester Red Sox. Yeah, That's an eclectic. That's almost a miscellaneous group in and of itself, right there. That's a pretty eclectic group.
Well, okay. So Slammers gets, we have to bring the objects slash buildings category into
That's
the
what I would do.
independent page.
Yeah,
Now we go to the Quebec capitales,
yeah.
or as you would say in French, Quebec capitale. We don't pronounce the
Quebec.
S.
Yeah, Quebec Capital.
Oh, see, I got everything wrong on that one. Help.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, right? Like they're the capitals. They're named for. I mean, it's essentially government. Could there be a government category, maybe?
Could there be? There
I
could
mean,
be
obviously, there's
anything.
no laws, right? But like, would that be the most appropriate? It's not the building itself. Now it's in French, so I don't know if there's a corollary here, but in English, the difference, and then you're a fan of grammar and usage as well. When you write the word capital, we pronounce it the same, but when you write the word capital, if it has an OL at the end, you're talking about the building, and if it has an AL at the end, you're talking about the city, the place. So
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
sure
an
that with Quebec, they are referring to the city.
yeah, that's what
So
I would think.
is
So
a
name
city a category?
that's an interesting question. Is it it's a government entity. It's named. It's sort of like self-referential, named for. It's named for itself. I don't know. I would say either government or city. I'd be curious to know if any other teams fell into that list.
I don't
I don't
think
think so.
so.
Yeah.
Now, next on that, on the independent miscellaneous
Oh, this
list,
is
is a team we
sad.
need to remove.
Yeah. Goodbye.
So that has we have to update that.
Yeah.
That is the Rocky Mountain Vibes. May they rest in peace.
Pour one out.
And let's discuss it anyway, even though I'm hitting delete right
Yeah.
now. Um, oh boy, that also changes the number of teams in
It does.
independent. Oh no, no, no,
Well, no, because
no.
you
They
got the
were
Modesto
replaced,
Roadsters. We got to add the Modesto Roadsters to this.
and they brought back the Colorado Springs Sky Sox, right? No, what's
No,
the
the Northern Colorado Owls moved to become the Colorado Springs Sky Sox, and then the Pioneer League basically just vanished out of Colorado. We lost the Grand Junction Jackalopes, we lost the Rocky Mountain Vibes, and we of course lost the Northern Colorado Owls, who had finished out the season as the Colorado Springs Sky Sox. So the
well?
Pioneer League is gone. So, and in fact, you don't have the Jackalopes listed here anymore because they are no more as of end of 2025.
Well,
So they're
getting back to the Rocky Mountain Vibes,
oh yeah,
they're
yeah.
no longer on the spreadsheet. But what category would Vibes have been?
Well, their logo was a s'more, so they could have been a food category. They would have been a food item,
Right,
I
right.
think.
Okay, it's a good.
Vibes are the brand itself. The sort of larger theme for the brand was camping,
Camping, right.
campfires and cookouts, and
So
and
that goes to you mentioned the recreation,
the
eh,
recreation.
right, which the Ridge Yaks would go into. I think we do need to put a recreation category.
Yeah,
I'm making notes about all
this
of
is
this.
this is good. Well, and the what I'll post when this episode goes up is the one that we're talking about right now, so that folks can follow along. But I think people will be interested to note when changes are made to the list.
I'm also going to be interested to hear from listeners. I want to know what they think of this episode. I'm loving talking about this, and you're the one who wanted to do this. I did not bring this up. You said let's do an episode on your spreadsheet, and I could
Here,
talk all day about these kinds of things. But is this interesting to somebody listening to it?
well,
I'm very curious.
here's what I would say about that, Dan. First of all, this is something I have been pushing for because pretty much every conversation we have is full of diversions, and so I wanted an episode that was exclusively diversions, right? Like, I mean, we had no planned talking points. You said, how are we possibly going to talk about this for a certain amount of time? I'm having a blast, like just randomly picking teams and categories and picking them apart here. So I hope it's fun for everybody else. But the other thing that I will say, Dan, is I get very nice notes on social media. People will private message me. Sometimes folks will email me. And I'll just get these very nice notes from folks who take time out of their day to write something to me and say, "Hey, I just want you to know I really enjoy the podcast." And it's always surprising to me because it's a labor of love. I'm doing it largely for me because it's fun to do it, and you and I get to hang out. And the fact that people are enjoying the ride as we go along is a bonus to me. So I hope people are enjoying this as much as I am because just a full episode of Diversions with Dan. We could call it that. We could call it Diversions with Dan.
Well, and speaking of diversions, so now we've got to steer things back to the
Yeah.
last of the miscellaneous ones. And by the way, as I'm looking through this, see, I'm going off on a tangent again. I'm noticing I've got on the independent page the Dubline Leprechauns of the Pecos League under people.
Oh,
Now it is people, but then again, I have a category on the affiliated page, cryptids and mythological. So
yeah.
leprechauns needs to go into
Yeah.
that category
I
on
don't
this.
think I would put leprechauns under people.
Oh, I do have a mythological category
Yeah.
on this page, and I do have leprechauns there.
Yeah.
So I need to remove
I would remove
leprechauns
them from people.
people.
I would say they are not people. Yeah.
I think they might
Yeah,
take offense to
they would
that.
object. Yeah, exactly.
So last on in the miscellaneous
Yeah.
category of independent teams is the Santa Fe Fuego. We're
Yeah.
talking about heat.
Yeah. And you also have them
Well,
under
Fuego's fire.
yeah,
So
you have them under foreign language. I would go on the
wait, I have
previous
oh yeah, I do have a foreign language
yeah.
category.
I would go just as you have it on the affiliated page, a forces of nature category.
So Fuego goes to forces of nature.
I think so. I mean, hey, I mean, I'm not the end all be all determiner here, but I think that's fuego to me is definitely a force of nature, or a Dan Patrick reference.
Do I have foreign language on the affiliated page? Because I can think of one off the top of my head.
I don't see it.
Okay, let's see if you can think of a foreign language team in affiliated ball. And I'll tell you, I'll even give you the league, okay, to help you. It's
Mm-hmm.
in the Florida State League.
Oh, the Tortugas.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Making another note. I've got so much work to do on this spreadsheet. Okay, so we've come.
So related to the layout and the design of the spreadsheet, Dan, and I know this was not meant for public consumption. It was meant for largely your own notes. I have been trying to figure out why some of these teams are set in red and some are set in black.
You know what? I was just thinking about that this morning because for whatever reason, I redid this spreadsheet yesterday and then I updated it again this morning. And on my spreadsheet, there's no red anymore. I don't know how that happened.
Oh.
But these were the ones that are in red were ones that I had questions about. For instance, and by the way, there's more than the ones in red that I have questions about as we've been discussing. But
Sure.
just looking at this first one, under crustaceans, I have Biloxi shuckers.
Right.
But I also have that. Okay, maybe it wasn't that I had questions about. It's ones that are in multiple categories because
Right.
you have Biloxi shuckers, which features an oyster.
Yeah.
And then, but it's also under people because a shucker is not an oyster. It's
Yeah.
the person shucking the oyster. So I'm also seeing another one here. Chattanooga lookouts are in topography nature category because it's based on Lookout Mountain in
Right.
Tennessee.
Right.
But then they're also people because somebody on the lookout, that's why it's called Lookout Mountain, because you can
Yeah.
see from there. And so that's under people. So if I remember correctly, then it was ones that were in more than one category, but there's probably ones that are not red that should be red, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So,
Well, I can see like one of the ones you had questions about or that was in multiple categories was the Rocket City Trash Pandas. That's a hard one to categorize, right? Like, I mean, it's basically a raccoon. I mean, I think of it as being a raccoon-based logo because the name Trash Panda is raccoon and, that has a raccoon in the logo. But they're very much an aeronautics theme as well, right? It's got the raccoon is in a trash can. As we spoke with NASA's Jay Hollenbeck about on the episode. It would take quite a lot of engineering to get that trash can into outer space with a raccoon in it. He just emailed me yesterday. He was emailing me about, or he was texting me about minor league hockey logos that he grew up with, and so that was, it says I love all these connections. Here I am texting with a NASA engineer about minor league hockey logos a couple of days before the holidays. But yeah, Rocket City Trash Pandas, that's a hard one to categorize for sure. And I guess at some point, Dan, we're going to need to wrap up here and get to the Studio Simon Stumper. So if there's anything really pressing you want to talk about, let me know. But the one note that I wanted to make, we named a bunch of these sort of one-team categories that I think are interesting. On the other, on the independent professional page, boxing, colors, flight, food/drink, furniture. The High Point Rockers are in the furniture category. There's one that is there is a numbers category, the North Platte 80s. So there are, a number of very small categories, but on both pages, people is one of the largest. It's the second biggest category under affiliated ball, and it is the largest category under independent professional ball. On affiliated ball, water related, which is, it has animals, it has watercraft, it has some pirates. So,
right,
but
there's 32 of those.
32 water related. So 32 of the 120. So more than a quarter of affiliated baseball teams have a name that relates to water in some way.
Well, here's the thing about that. I never gave this any thought, but now that you brought it up, it makes sense to me. At first, I was surprised, wow, 32. But think about this. So many cities in the world, major cities, not even major cities, just any cities, but including major cities, are on the water.
Yeah.
And because there used to be a day and age when that was the only means of transportation over long distances.
Yeah.
And perfect example is the city in which I live. Louisville, Kentucky is a river city. We're located right on the Ohio River. And we have falls here in Louisville. Now, the falls are not falls like maybe I've not been to Great Falls, but I have been to Spokane, and you can see the falls on that river. They're clear, as far as the height of those falls. It makes a dramatic falling of water.
Yeah.
In Louisville, you don't have that. It's actually almost like stair steps, if you will. But it prevented boat travel before they built locks here.
Yeah.
So what had to happen was people on boats trying to get past Louisville had to what's it called, portage, right?
Yeah.
Where they had to get, I don't know, did they take they wouldn't take the entire boat out of the river, would they? They would take all the stuff on the boat out and then
just like walk it up and go around, right? Like
right.
Yeah.
And then put it on maybe a different boat past the falls.
Right.
And that took a lot of time.
Yeah.
And because of that a city grew here because people had to stop here.
Right.
Anybody trying to go from one side of the river to the other, like trying to get from Pittsburgh to New Orleans. I don't know if that's the Mississippi River, but just go with me here.
Sure.
The reason I know that is I was reading a book about somebody who in modern times built it wasn't a boat, it was a flatboat and wanted to do the trip from Pittsburgh to New Orleans in modern times and write about it. And I didn't finish the book because it was not very interesting. But I digress, as we so often do. But cities grew because of
rivers and ports.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, the fact that baseball it's a reflection. Minor league baseball team names are a reflection of our dependence on water. It tells the story of America one baseball team at a time, Dan. I've heard that before somewhere.
I think you need to update that to North America.
North America. We featured a lot of Canadian teams, including as recently as last week with the Victoria Harbor with the UCats.
Yep. I was just thinking about that, listening to that episode, thinking, he always Paul
Yeah.
always refers to this as the story of America, one team at
Yeah.
a time. And then
Yeah.
I'm thinking, but we've got,
How about telling our story, one minor league baseball team at a time? It's our collective, our shared story as a people.
at some point, this podcast could grow even further because of going farther,
Mm,
where you feature, there's a Mexican league,
yeah.
there are teams in Europe, there's
European teams. There's Australian
an
teams. I have been trying
Australian
to get the Sydney Blue
Australian
Sox
league.
on for a long time, and I don't think the internet's working in Australia. They haven't gotten back to me yet, so the
There,
internet might be
there,
down.
there is, or maybe at this point it was, a team in, I'm sorry, a league in New Zealand. So
Yeah, there was
there,
a team there. There was the Auckland Tuatara, and they were part of the Australian Baseball League. They were short-lived. I actually reached out to the designer who created the logo and said, "Hey, I'd love to have you on to talk about that Tuatara logo." It was a kind of lizard, and he said I had a really bad experience with the team and don't want to talk about it.
I'm sorry
And that I have not said that publicly before, but that team doesn't exist anymore, so I don't feel so bad running that one out there. All right, Dan, we're the clock is ticking here, and so I have one more exercise that I want to get to. It's something that we referenced earlier when we were talking about independent professional teams coming and going. Obviously, the Vibes are no more. The Modesto Roadsters are here. The Modesto Roadsters are a difficult one to categorize. I think we should workshop this together here. This logo features it's in set in the home of your former Modesto Nuts, a team you created. That would have been easy, right? Agriculture. But the Roadsters have a Kit Fox driving a 61 Corvette with a 60s vibe about it because it's based on the movie American Graffiti. So you've got an animal in a Kit Fox, you've got a car which would, suggest transportation. You've got the reference to American Graffiti, which, is sort of a cinema category maybe.
So your question is, how do we categorize that?
Yeah, which one?
I think that goes, I think this is pretty easy. It goes into two categories. You've got transportation, and then I break that down into airplanes, boats, cars, rail, etc.
Yeah.
So that would go into transportation, cars,
One
because
very specific
it features
car
a car,
is.
and it features, and we've talked about the visual identity, and so we've mentioned now several times to the Peoria Chiefs. It's a good example of this. Features a Dalmatian dog, so it goes into the dog category under mammals. And similarly, it would go under the whatever fox. Is a fox a canid?
Yes.
Okay, so it goes into the canine category
Okay.
for independent teams.
There you go.
So,
That's why you're the expert. That's why it's Dan's spreadsheet and not Paul's spreadsheet, because I was spinning my wheels on that one, Dan, as it were.
see what you did there.
I do see what I did there. I saw it as I was doing it. Dan, this has been a lot of fun, but no episode of Baseball by Design is complete without a Studio Simon Stumper, and I believe we have come to that time. I think what we got to do is play our little jingly theme music and lead into the Studio Simon Stumper.
Okay, pause for theme music.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Hey, Dan, how you been?
I've been fine since like the several seconds since we were last talking.
The production quality on this podcast is just through the roof. This is I can't wait for the awards to start pouring in.
Well, anyway, here we go. So obviously we've been talking a lot of names here. We've also talking about names that have changed and teams that have come and gone. So based on all of this, our Studio Simon Stumper today asks, which of these minor league baseball clubs has had the most names in its franchise history?
I love this question.
Is it the Las Vegas Aviators? But by the way, let me just, I want to clarify something here. I specifically said franchise history. Some cities have had teams that did not then turn into a different name, same team, same franchise. So for instance, I just mentioned the Las Vegas Aviators. If Las Vegas had a team, which they didn't, well, maybe they did, in 1920 that has nothing to do with the current franchise, then though the names of teams previously don't count. It's
Gotcha.
the current day franchise going back to that particular franchise's inception. So,
Okay.
which of these minor league baseball clubs has had the most names in its franchise history? Is it the Las Vegas Aviators? Is it the Oklahoma City Comets?
Ooh.
Or is it the Billings Mustangs?
Oh, the Billings Mustangs is a little bit of a wild card here. The Aviators, to my knowledge, they've had three, unless they were in a different city. So like we wouldn't count a team like the Wichita Wind Surge, right? Where one franchise, or would we? Where
No,
one franchise has moved around to a bunch of cities.
no, I specifically, when I was coming up with this question, that was, I found some teams like that, and that I didn't want this to be confusing. So
Okay.
no
Okay.
city moves, no move from one city to another.
All right. Okay. So the answer to me feels pretty clear that it's going to be Oklahoma City. The Aviators, to my knowledge, were the Stars and then the 51s and then the Aviators. I don't think that they had more than just those three names as a franchise. I'll be honest, the Billings Mustangs, that one is a little bit of a wild card because I feel like they've been the Mustangs for a long time. What I don't know is like in the 40s, were they the Potatoes and the Mountains and the Tough Guys? And like there were, were there like nine names that they had from like 1942 to 1947? Oklahoma City has had a lot of names, right? Like they're currently obviously the Comets. Prior to that, they were the Oklahoma City baseball team. They were the Dodgers before that. They were the Red Hawks before that. And then they were the 89ers before that. So that's a good number of team names right there for Oklahoma City. Billings, I just don't recall whether they had a bunch of other names. And so I'm gonna take a flyer and hope that it's not Billings and say that it is Oklahoma City.
The reason that you can't think of any other names for the Mustangs, you feel like they've had that name for a long time, is because they have indeed had that name for a long time. As a matter of fact, as far as I can tell, that's the only name that club ever had.
Wow.
Now, the current franchise started in 1969. So do the math there. That's 50,
56, 57
50,
years, depending on what year it is when you're listening to this.
well, I'm right. Okay. But now as I specified, it's only the current franchise, but just for discussion's sake, there was also a Billings Mustangs team from 1948 to 1963. So baseball in Billings has only had the Mustangs.
Wow.
So that's only one. You named the only three names for the Las Vegas franchise, and you named all five names for the Oklahoma City franchise. By the way, just as a technicality, you said one of their names was the Oklahoma City baseball team. It was technically the Oklahoma City Baseball Club.
Oh, so I get it wrong? No credit. No
Nope,
points.
you get all the points and then some because you literally named every single team name for these three teams.
What a way to end 2025, which was not the best year that that we've all seen. I think a lot of people are happy to kick 2025 out the door. So what a way to shuffle into 2026 with a clean sweep victory in a stumper that was right up my alley. This was one I felt pretty confident in. So although I was seriously questioning, like, who knew, like, were there a bunch of Billings teams with a bunch of crazy names? And so I'm glad you didn't pull that fast one on me, Dan, to end the year.
Well, here's another not pulling a fast one on you here. I forget which team it was I was looking up. There were several teams that had multiple parent club names. Like there was one team that
Oh,
must have
yeah,
had like 8 different names just
yeah,
based on their parent club.
right.
And and
Like Modesto, right? Didn't Modesto have a bunch of parent club names over the years before they were the Nuts?
Yes, I believe that was one of that might have been the team I'm thinking of. I looked up so many teams, I can't really keep them all straight
Yeah.
for this question. I looked up so many teams, but with the ones I used for today's stumper, there was only one parent club name, and that was the Oklahoma City
Yeah.
Dodgers.
Yeah.
So because that's no fun when if I threw in one of those, it's like, nah, you're
It is funny to think
unique
about. I would be
names,
curious to know, like, because I know there were some teams that I feel like there was a Midwest League team. I'm trying to remember which one it was. Maybe the Colonels, I don't know if it was the Colonels or the River Bandits, but they had just like a ton of parent club names, and they just got tired of renaming every time they shifted affiliations. And that's I think that was sort of in the back of my head for Billings, was just like, were they in like the D League and they played for every major league team at the time?
Yeah, here's the Nuts. Now, the Nuts were not necessarily the team that I was thinking of, but check this out. The names they've had were the going from oldest to most recent were the Modesto Reds. Interestingly, they were never a Reds affiliate.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay. The Modesto Colts, and that was for the Houston Colt 45s, now the Houston Astros.
Okay.
So then there were the Modesto Reds again, but again, not a Reds affiliate. They were a Kansas City Athletics and St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh,
Now, St. Louis Cardinals might make sense, Red
yeah.
Bird, but still, but Kansas City Athletics had nothing to do with Reds. Then there were the Modesto A's. And lastly, the Modesto Nuts, as we talked about. But they started as an independent team, and then they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different major league affiliations.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That is crazy. That is an awful lot. So, Dan, this has been so much fun. I have been looking forward to this episode for a while. I'm glad we finally got to do it. And now, when we talk about the spreadsheet going forward, people will have access, at least to this one that we're going to post on social media when this episode drops on New Year's Eve. This will drop on the 30th of December. So just in the final 48 hours of 2025. But then now people will be able to make comments and offer suggestions. And as new teams come up, maybe the conversation will be, hey, what category should that be? As I was with the Roadsters. So thank you for your work on the spreadsheet. Dan, Happy New Year. Thank you for everything you've done for Baseball by Design. This podcast would obviously not be the same without you.
Well, I am flattered. Happy New Year right back at you. And Happy New Year to all of your listeners.